My name is Mark Sacha, and
Mark, can you spell that?
it's Mark with a K, last name spelled S as in Sam, A-C-H-A. For 22 and a half years, I was one of the senior people in the Erie County DA's office. I rose to be the third ranking DA in Erie County. I did that through hard work, not politics. I eventually became the DA that was investigating a case that involved Mr. Pigeon. Most people know that back in 2008, I sent a memo to Frank Sedita, a 53-page memo that may become public soon, indicating reasons why in part, why Mr. Pigeon had broken various election law crimes, including felonies. I was promptly retaliated against by Mr. Sedita. And I then found out that Mr. Sedita was a close political and personal friend, along with his father, to Mr. Pigeon. Bringing us to today, I back in 2013, another set of election law crimes occurred in Erie County. And it involved an entity which was basically controlled by Steve Pigeon. Now, the bottom line is that at the end of that election cycle, or near the end of it, I made a complaint as a private individual, as well as some elected officials. There was I think around $76,000 that within a short period of time was funneled through Pigeon's entity and were used for pretty much all of the advertising for these other candidates. A slate of candidates were set up by Mr. Pigeon. The long and the short of it is that it was clear to me, and I'm the only person really that has done election law prosecutions in Western New York for the last 20 years. And it was clear to me and clear to other people that these crimes had occurred again, that he was a serial violator of the election law, that he was affecting free and fair elections for citizens of Erie County. Now, that brings me to today. You know, I've read some things about the fact that this is a sad day, or now, the only thing sad about today is that from what I heard in court, there doesn't seem to be any action being taken to protect free and fair elections in Erie County. And that concerns me. Other than that, however, I think as a citizen, and for other citizens, and I'm talking to other citizens, I'm not talking to the lawyers or the elite political class who like things the way they are. I'm talking to the citizens of Erie County. Other than that, it is good. It is good to expose corruption, whether it's a judge, whether it's Mr. Pigeon. But I would like everybody to know that Pigeon isn't the only problem. Pigeon is he's somebody that was allowed to exist because political bosses have control of the Erie County DA's office. And that's got to stop. And the bottom line is, you heard with Michaelek yesterday, what is their main interest? Their main interest is, I want to achieve this position. And you know who helped them do it? Was Steve Pigeon. And so they sold their souls, they sold their jobs for what Pigeon could give to them. And I think that it's an education for the public. I think the public should listen to really watch this, because you know, this is the core of our system. But it's also an opportunity, because we're up for election. You know, there's an election this year. Sure, I'm a candidate, but I think it's important that the DA's office be not political, that the political bosses not control who is appointed to, who gets elected to DA. Because if you allow that to happen again, this is not the end of it. It's going to happen again, and it's going to happen again, and it's going to happen again. And one thing I want to point out is that Pigeon's associates are running the acting DA's campaign. And Pigeon met with the acting DA back at the time of the election law violations. And Mr. Egan, who is Pigeon's campaign manager, was the manager of the campaign that got all the money that was the subject of the complaint back in 2013. So I gotta tell you something, somebody needs to do something about elections in Erie County. And that's nonpartisan, it's important because we need to have faith in the elections.
Did you testify before the grand jury?
No,
Mark, what did you know?
I'm a criminal defense attorney,
Private?
trying to keep up with Cambria.
Mark, just on a personal level, did you ever actually envision seeing this day, or you would see Pigeon in court?
Anybody who knows me knows I'm a very determined person, and I've kept up the drumbeat. I've kept it up. Obviously, I was expecting something more, but I'm happy. And I guess the answer to you today, yeah, I did hope that the day would come because I knew that he would not stop. And what you heard in court was exactly the kind of stuff that he does. He put a young lawyer up, forced a judge to give him or manipulated a judge to give him a job, and then he extorted the money out of the guy. Is this the kind of people you want picking the DAs in Erie County? You want somebody like him? And you know what I found out? Sedita was meeting with him at the time he was running for election. And you know who was with them? Mike Flaherty. And when I deposed them, the only other person that appeared with Sedita is Mike Flaherty. The bottom line is, Mike Flaherty is the Pigeon candidate. But again, it's not just about Pigeon. If you get rid of Pigeon, you still have a system which allows, if you allow it, political bosses to pick who the DA is. And they're not independent then. And that's what I told the Moreland Commission. And that's what I repeated that drumbeat. And I appreciate the opportunity to try to help.
Is there anything outlined either in your memo or in anything that you testified to the Moreland Commission about that could still be prosecuted, that hasn't blown past the statute? Can you tell us what?
And I want to say something today. I'm happy about what happened here today, but I have had discussions with people from this investigation. And I was told, and I got to tell you something, in order to get a search warrant, they had to have probable cause. And they didn't have the emails back when they got the search warrant. So they must have had probable cause about other crimes. Okay? That's a fact. So somebody should ask somebody, what happened to the other crimes? Now, I worry, and I'm going to tell you something right now, and I'm talking to the people, the common people, the citizens of Erie County. I'm wondering how it was decided not to go after the election law crime, because you know what? The election law crimes get messy because other elected officials might get in trouble. And I worry that decisions were made here that shouldn't have been made about the decision whether to go forward on those. And clearly, in order to get that search warrant, they had to have probable cause. And I believe they had, I was told they had probable cause on felonies relating to election law crimes. What happened to them? And I hope what we have here is not what happened back in 2008 that I complained about. And what I was complaining about was Frank Clark didn't want to prosecute Pigeon because for political reasons. So, I don't want to say I respect Diane LaValle. Quite frankly, she's the acting DA in Erie County because she prosecutes more cases than they do. They weren't there in court, and the reason why they weren't there in court because they have a conflict. They weren't willing to do it. So I have a lot of respect for Diane LaValle, but she doesn't make the final decisions. Final decisions are made by Schneiderman, and he's a politician. So Obviously, I'm not pulling my punches, but the bottom line is, somebody's gotta prosecute these cases. And you can't play games with them. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.